A walk among the stars, the monsters, the paranormal, and supernatural. Join your tour guides, Justin and Josh, on this cryptic journey through life and beyond. What you may not know is you've been on this journey for a long time, and you finally arrived. Join us and our cult by subscribing to this podcast and giving us a generous 5-star rating. With doing so, your soul will be set and the afterlife defined. Welcome to It's Cryptic Out There.
Welcome back to It's Cryptic Out There podcast. I am your host Justin, alongside my co-host Josh. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Do you have a catchphrase this week?
I was actually just sitting here thinking before we started. What's up my culties?
We'll go with that.
It's not good.
Good culties.
Yeah, good culties. Not good.
It's been a week for sure. I've been super busy. Right. Josh, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. Working, man. Tired. Just tired.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be pulling some 6-day weeks here. Starting tomorrow. Probably next 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
That's never fun.
Gotta work on Labor Day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I gotta work tomorrow, go Monday, then work the rest of the week. Might have to work next Sunday, then work next week I might do 7 days.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Well, for the people who are working on Labor Day and you enjoy the show, we hope that this is kind of like a escape.
Yeah.
For your terrible Labor Day work day.
Yeah, I'm gonna show up on the day when no one's supposed to work.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Gotta love it.
Right. Well, I hope everybody liked the last episode last week. It was pretty insane, pretty graphic. Wasn't expecting all that.
Yeah, whoa, I'm still thinking about that today.
Yeah.
Wild. Go back and watch it if you should. Everybody should. It's crazy.
Andy.
Thanks.
Thanks. You're crazy, but I love you.
Yeah.
And it was a great episode.
Yeah, wild, man. Wild. I've been waiting to do an episode like that just because it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
You always read it, but to hear it from somebody who was like, yeah, just walked in there and...
So numb to it.
That's how it was, yeah.
But, I mean... I can see why he's numb to it.
Yeah, the minute details that you remember.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine walking into a room with a dead body and being like, oh, hey, his glasses are just a little low.
Well, yeah, that shocked.
When someone's pants are below their ankles and they've got a belt tied around their neck, and you're just like, man, his glasses look real weird. I'd be like, the fuck, there's a dead body.
Exactly.
And I'd be able to get over that.
His brains are on the floor.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got memories all over the place.
Oh, my God.
It's cryptic out there.
It is, yes. So, hopefully you guys are still with us after that crazy episode. We warned you ahead of time.
Yeah, trigger warning.
Yeah.
Not this episode, though. Maybe.
No, this episode, a lot of people have been wanting this episode.
Yeah. Because
it's a local one. It's the Three Black Sisters. And... I discovered this story maybe a couple years ago because I heard that the Christiansburg middle school was allegedly haunted, and that sparked interest in me, and I was like, why is it haunted?
Yeah.
And then apparently there's some type of witches going on back in the day. So today we're going to be diving into that and just seeing what all happened.
A lot of witchcraft in these parts.
Exactly.
I think the past 4 things that we've covered have had some sort of witchcraft or Wiccanry.
Bloody Mary?
Yeah.
Would you consider that witchery?
I don't know, because you're trying to communicate with a spirit, right?
Yeah, she might be more of a demon.
Yeah, more of a paranormal.
Yeah.
Or witchcraft would be. Right. Well, I don't know. You'd be summoning things, right?
Yeah.
I don't make these definitions, for sure.
But today we're going to be talking about the Black Sisters, and let's just go ahead and start. Why don't we?
Get into it, yeah.
Let's get weird.
It's getting into the spooky season.
Exactly.
Getting a little spoopy out there.
We got a lot coming up.
Oh my gosh, do we?
And it's...
You want to talk about being busy now, just wait.
Oh yeah, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
We'll bring that up eventually.
Probably towards the end of September.
Yeah.
We'll probably lay out a guideline of what we want to do.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot going on in October, just personally, but then a lot going on, just the stuff that we want to bring.
Right.
Definitely, I'm just going to drop one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Watch along with Summer Slasher.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
That's one thing we want to do.
It's, if you guys don't know what that is, we filmed a movie
2019?
that's available on YouTube. We got nominated for like best gore, best
won,
kill.
Right?
No, we got nominated.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Whatever.
Yeah, but if you guys haven't watched that, you could either go watch it now, or you could watch it with us on one episode here coming soon in October.
Tons of behind the scenes.
Yes.
So much going on.
A lot of commentary. Like, I haven't watched it in a while,
Yeah,
so it's going to
I'm
be
probably
kind
just
of...
going to wait.
Yeah.
And then have it all come to
Yeah.
me. Just because it's an hour and 20-some minute movie. Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Okay, so the Sisters in Black, or the Black Sisters. I've heard it different ways. This article, though, I'm going to read off an article because there's a lot of like, oh, this is what happened. No, this is what happened. But from what I've gathered and heard from various people and various articles, this one seems to be the most accurate, or the most talked about, I guess. Okay, so the Sisters in Black, the murder of O.C. Snide, I think that's how you say it, O-C-E-Y, O.C. 1909.
Whew.
Pretty O.C. Snide had plenty of reasons to long for death in the closing weeks of 1909. Her husband had vanished and was presumed dead. Her baby daughter had died. Her infant son was sick, and she herself had grown too frail that she could barely get out of bed. She's going through a tough time.
Yeah, and it's 1909. It's not like they got some icy hot that they can rub on her joints. Like, come on, Grandma, get out of bed. Shaquille O'Neal out
Shaq.
here.
Help her
Shaq,
out.
where you at?
Suicide appeared the obvious conclusion when, on November 29th, a doctor was summoned by East Orange, New Jersey, police to investigate a report of a fatal accident. The doctor, Herbert Simmons, found Snide's naked 80-pound body face down in a foot of cold water in her tub.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
A note
80-pound body?
Yeah, she was frail.
My gosh. She needed a lot more than icy hot.
Yeah, she needed like
Personal trainer.
Big Mac.
Couple.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
is this like... So this is alleged, right? That they... I
Oh,
mean,
no,
she's
this-
actually dead, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like the witchcraft aspect of it is like alleged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know anything about
Who
this. Yeah.
So, a note described her woes. When you read this, I will have committed suicide. The note concluded, do not grieve over me. Rejoice with me that death brings a blessed relief from pain and suffering greater than I can bear. Seemed an open and shut case until Simmons began to muse about the circumstances. It seemed peculiar that the woman who reported the girl's death, Virginia Wardlaw, her aunt, had waited 24 hours before calling for help. Also, the girl was unheated and so sparely furnished it was hard to believe anyone lived there. Wardlaw herself was a strange figure, dressed in black, with a cape casketing to her ankles and a veil covering her face. Simmons asked why she waited so long to report her niece's death. Quote, "She had asked not to be disturbed," was the answer. Simmons told authorities that he thought detectives should look into the matter, thus opening a bizarre case of murder and 3 weird sisters, the remnants of a once proud Southern family that had fallen on hard times. Wardlaw was uncooperative when a detective tried to question her. She ended up in jail as a material witness while detectives probed the death of her niece. They discovered that over the years, several insurance policies had been taken out on Snide's life, and that her relatives, scrapped for cash, had been constantly borrowing against them. Also troubling was that the handwriting on Oshi's suicide note did not exactly match other samples of her writing.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Fishy.
Yeah. She can't write the same way that she usually writes. Also, she can't even get out of bed.
No.
And she just ended up in this pool of water in a half-empty house. That would be my first thought. Like Andy said in the last episode, scene has to make sense, and the scene ain't making sense.
It ain't making sense.
Andy, we need to go back in time to 1909.
Exactly. You would have solved this in a day. Most astounding was the cast of characters suspected of murdering the 24-year-old for the insurance money. Are you 24 years old?
Me?
No, you're 25.
I'm 26.
You're 26?
Yeah.
That's right, you just turned 26.
Yeah, just turned 26.
That's right. I'm gonna be 27, Jesus Christ.
Come on, man.
Yeah. First was the aunt, Virginia Wardlaw, who was 57 at the time. Then there was Mary Snide, 61, another aunt who also happened to be the girl's mother-in-law. What? Incest.
That's strange.
O.C. had married her first cousin,
Oh.
Fletcher Snide.
All right, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Or, what's the other guy's name? Jerry Lewis?
Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
The third woman, thought to be the mastermind behind the murder plot, was O.C.'s own mother, Caroline Martin, who was 64. All 3 dressed in the same fashion, and thus became known as the Sisters in Black. Detectives traced the movements of the women from the New Jersey home to another rented house in Brooklyn, where neighbors there told of strange goings-on. It's weird. Strange goings-on.
I don't know. I've heard that a lot.
Okay.
A lot of goings on.
Yeah. O.C., her mother, and 2 aunts had lived there since 1907. Fletcher Snide, I think it's how you say it, Sneed? Maybe it's Sneed. S-N-E-A-D.
Maybe it is Sneed. S-N-E-A-D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Sneed.
Had also spent time there, but he was gone by March 1909, leaving his pregnant wife behind. Wow. What a dick.
Yeah.
The missing husband would later be tracked down in Canada, living under an alias as a cook.
Dang. That's crazy. Because he could have probably just went like 30 minutes away and been just as fine.
Probably.
You know, in 1909.
1909.
I actually had an aunt, and her husband just kind of left her with the kids and went up to Danville, Virginia, and they lived in Tazewell. Just left. So my great-grandfather hired a private investigator, found out where he was, got his daughter and the kids, showed up to the barbershop he was working at.
Holy shit.
And was like, here's your family.
Oh my god.
They've been in Danville ever since.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So they've like... They reunited?
Yeah, they reunited. I think they may have gotten a divorce or something.
Okay.
He ended up becoming paralyzed.
Jesus.
Yeah, fell off a horse or something.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'd have to get my mom to tell the story, but...
So he ain't cutting hair anymore.
Oh, well, these people are... My Aunt Pat, I think, is in her upper 80s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he died. Same year my grandfather died, I believe.
Wow.
2013. Yeah, so and this would have been in the 60s?
Yeah.
60s, 70s.
Dang. That's crazy.
Very crazy. Yeah.
You got a lot of stories.
Appalachia, baby.
Appalachia. Okay. So, under an alias as a cook, he gave one press interview and disappeared again.
Now you see me, now you don't.
Yeah. Now I'm a magician.
Now I'm a magician in Tijuana, Mexico.
OC's first child, a daughter, had died 2 days after birth. Well, I mean, cousins, 1907, 1909.
I was going to say, taking just the time period.
Yeah.
Any health effects that could come from that.
Yeah.
First cousins, I mean, that's
Right.
direct relation. That's, yeah, that's your parents.
Yeah. The second, a son, was born in August 1909. He was sick, and the sisters had spirited him away to a hospital and left him there, where he later died.
Wow.
God, this family sucks,
Like
dude.
like a mental institution or just a hospital?
I think just the hospital, yeah,
Didn't
where
say
he
what
was
was
sick.
wrong with him?
No.
Just sick?
They had moved to New Jersey in early November. In rented warehouses and other places where the sisters had lived in recent years, police gathered papers that offered insight into the family's background. Family documents, investigators learned that the Wardlaw's sisters came from a long line of achievers. That was
Yeah, I
weird.
heard that.
That was weird behind me.
Like a weird crackling sound. I ain't heard that in here before.
No.
Usually it's just like a...
Pop.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, it's warm in here.
Yeah.
Not like a...
Yeah, I mean, it's warm in here, but it's not hot.
Have to sage this place down.
Andy, thanks a lot. All right. From a long line of achievers, ministers, lawyers, doctors, and judges,
Wow.
with roots in this country going back to before the Revolution, and were a refined and well-respected Southern family, Virginia had established a career as a headmistress in girls' schools in Tennessee and Virginia. Over the years, she lost job after job, generally after one or both of her sisters showed up. Fishy.
That's weird.
Police found Mary Sneed living in a basement with the sisters' aged mother. They nabbed Caroline Martin in a Manhattan hotel. Her black clothes and veil had given her away. The women were charged with first-degree murder and with complicity in helping O.C. Sneed commit suicide. As they awaited trial, Virginia Wardlaw started feeding her meals to the rats in the Trenton Penitentiary, and she died in August 1910.
Before the rat army could take place.
Exactly.
That's sad.
It was impossible to determine whether Wardlaw had been a suicide or had simply fallen ill. Martin's tirades, outbursts, and irrational behavior made it seem likely that she'd be declared insane. Still, despite a slew of character witnesses who described her alarmingly bizarre words and deeds, the judge ruled that the woman was fit for trial. During insanity hearings, she offered an account of what had happened. She said that her child was in a pitiable state and had become a morphine addict who daydreamed of suicide. The evening of the death, Martin said she had accidentally given her daughter a morphine overdose. In an attempt to revive O.C., Martin dumped her into cold water in the bathtub. When it was clear that there was no hope, her mother fled. Some mother, huh?
You just didn't think to call anybody?
Your own daughter.
I threw her in some cold water. Well, that's it. I've done everything that I could possibly do in this situation. Might as well just leave and not think about it anymore.
Right.
That's crazy. Even the kid who killed his mom and his sister still was like,
And
hey,
911 calls.
I killed my mom and sister. You know?
Yeah, I don't like killing people after this.
I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really messed up.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the 911 call, he's just like, oh shit, I just killed my mom.
Exactly,
and
it's
sister.
coming to him.
Yeah, that whole just flood of that shock. Man, that was crazy.
Yeah.
It's even crazy here in 1909 or whatever. Probably more like 1910,
Right.
like 1910, 1911 when they're doing the court case, that they're doing insanity hearings.
Well, going back to the...
I'm surprised they just didn't call them witches and burn them at the stake.
Right.
They're like, oh, okay.
Take them to Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's fine.
What was weird is when Virginia would take these jobs, she'd bring her sisters along and then she would lose her job. So,
Yeah. Makes you wonder what was going on,
yeah.
like behind the scenes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mary Sneed was acquitted and Martin pleaded guilty to manslaughter. She clearly expected no jail time because when she learned on January 23rd, 1911, that her sentence would be 7 years, she shrieked, "I do not deserve it!" The prisoner had to be carried from the courtroom, still sitting in her chair, shrieking.
Wow.
Soon after she entered jail, she was transferred to the insane asylum, where she stopped eating and died on June 20th, 1913.
Shoo.
So she was there for 2 years.
Wow, yeah.
An autopsy showed some clogging of the arteries, but no one could say for sure whether her death was really a suicide. Interesting. Okay, so that will bring us to them in the state of Virginia. Like, that was their story, but what we're going to be discussing is the Christiansburg middle school, because it once was a girls' hospital thing. Let me look it up.
Is it kind of like what St. Albans was for boys?
It might have been, perhaps.
Because for a long time, wasn't it like a boys'
Yeah,
like boarding school?
you're right. I even think they had like a football team.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a school, and then they're like, you know what? This would actually serve a better purpose if it was an insane asylum.
Right.
Which at this time, like, you know, you could have what we deem people now as, oh, this person could function under like assisted living or something, could still live on their own.
Yeah.
But have somebody that like live in an assisted living home or something like that and have that independency. At this point, it's just like, I'm not even gonna try.
Right.
Just whatever, go here and stay there, and I'll forget about you. 'Cause that's literally how it was at the time. Though.
Exactly.
I mean,
Not the laugh, but like, you know.
but it's like, it's one of those like awkward laughs because it's so
Yeah.
true and awful, because that was just what happened. I was
Yes.
talking to my grandma today about like lobotomies and such,
Mm-hmm.
you know, of the time. Just being like, I don't like what you're saying to me, so I'm just going to cut out a piece of your frontal lobe and make you complacent with everything going on.
Oh my god.
I mean, seriously, you look at like women at the time who were basically free thinkers, who
Yeah.
were speaking out against oppression or whatever. They're like, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're just literally crazy, so if I cut out a piece of your brain, you won't be crazy anymore.
Right.
Awful, man.
Sorry, but I'm trying to find the article that related to Christiansburg.
But if anybody, you know, finds out, like, or has anything to say, because I didn't hear anything about this growing up, or know anybody who was like, did you hear that the Christiansburg Middle School was haunted or whatever?
Right.
So anybody who's listening who does know about the Black Sisters, hit us up.
So, okay. Yes, 540-358-1583 is the Cryptic hotline.
Email, Facebook, 682 cult members on the Facebook page.
Yes.
Taking over.
Now, let me just read this creepypasta, because this is a person who lived or still lives in Christiansburg, and he wrote about what he knows of the Sisters in Black. So, local legends, every town has one. Even cities have their own urban legends. My town has one that I paid no mind to, and I regret that decision now. Let me start by saying I live in a small town, Christiansburg, Virginia. Our football team is Blue Demons. Conjuring the name Christiansburg. Okay. Get it?
Christiansburg Blue Demons.
Yeah.
Christiansburg? I guess.
Yes.
I guess demons aren't blue, though, I suppose.
Okay. We have 5 schools: Christiansburg Elementary, Falling Branch Elementary, Christiansburg Middle, Blacksburg Middle, and Christiansburg High. In the mid-19th century, Blacksburg Middle had a different name, the Montgomery Female College, a boarding school for young women. The headmaster was a unwed woman named Virginia Wardlaw.
Oh.
Okay. In her old age, she had trouble managing the school on her own. It got so out of hand that one of her students got pregnant by a country boy. The headmistress tried to hush up the matter, but being the small town it was, the scandal spread like wildfire. When the baby was born, no one saw it. It disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The young girl who had the baby never spoke of the matter again. And we'll go back to that here in a sec, or here in a little bit. After the incident, the baby, Virginia, called on her 2 widowed sisters, Caroline and Mary, to help her run the school. In addition to the sisters, they also asked Mary's son, Fletcher, to groundskeep for the school. Fletcher is OC's, cousin and husband.
Baby daddy.
Yep. Fletcher had done a terrible job groundskeeping and was one night found dead in his bed.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Charred and scorched all over.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I like how they just added in, he was terrible at groundskeeping, also died a horrible and painful death in his bed.
Jesus.
Like, okay.
Apparently he knocked a candle over in his sleep.
Oh, and it burned him alive?
But that didn't explain why he was burned all over. Further, you'd think he would wake up from the pain.
Oh shit, my bed's on fire.
Further investigation from the police gave away that the sisters bought Fletcher's life insurance a week before his death. In court, the sisters claimed it was compensation of his work as groundskeeper. The jury found them not guilty. I wonder if that's the same time they were going through the OC.
When this?
It doesn't say.
Because it's been like 1909 and 1913.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading this, and then there's comments of people saying, no, this is what happened, this is what... Okay. And we'll go over that as well. Because, honestly, I don't really know either.
Yeah, there seems like so many different aspects to this story.
Yes, exactly.
But one thing that I've learned is when stuff comes from that long ago, it's going to be a bunch of different tellings of the story.
Yeah.
It's not all going to be just the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so... Years later, the school closed down due to paranormal disturbances such as fires, tainted water, and a man screams in the hallways, and a baby's crying coming from the well outside. Is that where the baby was murdered at?
Sounds like, yeah.
Mary and Caroline moved to New York while Virginia stayed in Christiansburg. The city gave a permit to demolish and then rebuild the boarding school into a junior high school. A reporter wanting the sisters' thoughts on the matter traveled to New York to interview Mary and Caroline. He arrived in the midst of a funeral of Caroline's daughter, O.C. Okay, there we go.
There's the connection.
Apparently, O.C. drowned while taking a bath. Sedatives were found in her system, as we know, morphine. Although O.C. was a known drug addict, the reporter pulled out the police report on the matter and did find out that the sisters once again bought life insurance for O.C. around a week before her death.
Wow.
Okay.
So one was not enough. One life insurance check. They need two.
They become serial killers.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So we kind of brushed over, the reporter made a tip for the police in New York who did a background check on Mary and Caroline. When they found out about Fletcher and the baby, they sent a team to Christiansburg to inform the police about O.C.'s death and the outcome of Mary and Caroline's arrest. Mary tried to resist arrest and was shot on sight. Now, that's not what was said in the other article, right?
Yeah, right. Wait, which one was this, Caroline or
Mary.
Yeah, because didn't Mary, was she the one feeding the
It
rats?
was the mother, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
One of them was feeding the rats and then died.
Yeah.
And then the other one just stopped eating, and then they did the
Yeah.
autopsy with
So this one says she was shot on sight.
Hmm.
Everybody, what really happened? If you know, call the hotline.
If you were there and 19 whatever,
Yes.
call the hotline.
540-358-1583.
Or we'll bust out the Ouija board.
Yes,
and try
and we'll
and-
talk to OC herself. And
Ask-
Fletcher.
Ask her what happened.
But Fletcher, he died in his bed.
Yeah.
Fletcher was a cook.
Yeah.
And he, what's
So he was
going
a
on
cook
here?
and then he's a groundskeeper?
Yeah.
That's why I asked like what the time period was, because
Yeah.
how can it be from 1909 to 1913?
Well, if he disappeared and never seen again.
Yeah, or at least how long? How long was she the headmistress of this school for? Was that like her lifelong career, or did she just like stumble upon it, or? I feel like that's important to know.
It really is. I'm going to look her up right now. Let's see. 1884, organizes student missionary work at Montgomery Female College, Christiansburg, Virginia. She had it running in 1884. So,
So a little over 10 years that she was doing it
mhm,
until 1909,
yeah.
because that's when OC died, was 1909, and they went on trial in 1911 and were convicted.
Yeah.
And she died 2 years later in 1913.
Right. I think this is the best way we can talk about this story, because I don't think nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah. And it's dependent upon how well they kept those records. I worked at I worked at the courthouse, and I would shred papers because they were going to digital, and there was
Yeah.
a bunch of classified documents and stuff
Right.
but they were just switching it over all digital, so I was getting rid of them, and just some of the dates on them were from 1940 and stuff from our area. So to put it into perspective, that they had switched it to digital, but if there could have been somebody, it would have been real easy to just grab a file from somewhere in that building, take it outside, set it on fire, and now it just never happened.
Right.
Because there would be no other record of it.
That's crazy.
Unless they had copies or whatever,
Yeah.
but more likely probably not. 'Cause they're
Right.
like, whatever, this is it. This is good enough.
Yep.
So, especially at that time, it's not like you have a copying machine
Mhm.
where you can just copy it. You'd either have to get on a typewriter and copy it, word by word or
Yeah.
whatever, but
I don't know. But I do know, we do know, that Virginia is buried in Christiansburg.
ooh.
Virginia was tried and sentenced to death for the murder of Fletcher
Mm-hmm.
and, of course, OC.
Well, how'd they find out that she killed him?
Exactly. That's the thing. I don't know.
It could be just one of those things where the extenuating circumstances of this one murder is very similar to how this person died, with it being this quick of a life insurance policy. So we're just going to say that you did both. It doesn't matter if you don't agree or not.
Yeah. So, Virginia died. She's buried at Christiansburg's Sunset Cemetery. And we'll get to, all that in a sec.
We're going to have to go there.
We will.
Yeah.
After all this, the abandoned Montgomery Female College was demolished and replaced with Christiansburg Middle School. The sisters were remembered the most for the fact that they always wore black and were frequently accused of being witches. Here we go. The gym of the school was built over the school well, which, according to the blueprints, is collecting cobwebs in the cellar of the school. When Blacksburg Middle collapsed, they moved into Christiansburg Middle and renamed after their town.
Because it was the gym ceiling that collapsed down over where they built the well. Could be structural integrity. Could be Could be a little demony.
Perhaps.
Paranormal.
Perhaps.
It's cryptic out there, even in 1909.
Jeez. I was doing research on the sisters for a school project on town history when I came across the news articles and a video clip posted on some forum at the far corner of the internet. It was posted by some guy who was visiting his grandmother's grave at Sunset Cemetery. He had heard of the famed Virginia Wardlaw and decided to visit her faded grave. When he got there, he noticed a camera-seized mound of dirt behind the grave. When he got it out of the ground, it turned out to be a tin box. Inside, he found an SD card along with a newspaper clipping. Is this real? The SD card contained a video called Hidden. Now, is this just part of a creepypasta? Or does this shit really happen? Did this shit really happen?
So he dug up? Or he went to her
grave
and just started digging?
Yes. Or he found like a pile of dirt and he dug through the dirt and found this tin can.
This tin can?
Yeah.
That's been there since 1913?
No, somebody must have put it there because it has an SD card.
Yeah. Oh, duh.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
He copied the article down with, okay, blah, 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 I found missing. Search went on weeks. At the end of a couple months, I remember seeing it on the news. I clicked on the video. The first few were distorted, but I caught a few glimpses of the cemetery. The visual cut out, but then I got to listen to the audio. At first, there was only the sound of leaves crunching on the person's breathing. Eventually, someone spoke up. Are we there yet? A girl's voice asked. Almost, said the guy. Okay. This can't be real. I'm just going to move on to the comments.
Somebody give him a tape recorder. Was like, here, go make something? What the heck?
So, okay. Here's a comment. This might, explain a lot. There is so much historically wrong with this account. The story about the girl and the baby has no supporting evidence. It was not Fletcher Sneed who was burned in the night, but John Wardlaw Sneed who was burned at 8 a.m. on March 2nd, 1906. He attempted to light a fire with lamp oil and spilled it on his clothes. He died around 2 p.m. that afternoon. John was not a groundskeeper. He was a graduate of Vanderbilt and a teacher. Sonny Coral was the groundskeeper. Fletcher and O.C. lived in New York together and were well known by their neighbors. Fletcher disappeared weeks before O.C.'s death and was eventually located working as a hotel cook under the name John Lucas in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Okay,
Whoa.
This explains it.
That makes a lot more
That
sense.
creepypasta was bullshit.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. You just stumbled upon a tin can with an SD card? Why were you digging through somebody's grave? You're the creepy one in that pasta.
The school closed and the sisters left because of the school's declining enrollment and debt. Famous Acrobat has already addressed the fate of the building in 2019. Commented in this thread, there was no report who traveled to New York and tipped the police off. Anyone familiar with the story knows that Virginia called the police requesting a coroner. Okay. On Monday afternoon, November 29, 1909. The town of East Orange had no coroner, but Herbert Simmons, the reporter, there's that sound again, Essex County Deputy Chief Physician came to examine the body and called the PD to investigate. Detective Sergeant William O'Neill responded to Simmons' call. Caroline didn't hang herself in prison. She died of heart failure in the state insane. Okay, this person knows their mother.
Okay, well that actually kind of goes back to the first story because they said she had clogged arteries, so if she died of like a heart attack or whatever, that makes sense.
That does, yeah.
Yeah. Because it didn't even bring up in the first one her hanging herself or anything.
No. Mary wasn't shot. She had been arrested, but wasn't even tried. After Caroline took the plea deal on the charge of manslaughter, the Prosecutor dropped charges against Mary because there was no evidence linking to her with OC's death.
And her rat army just got her out of trouble.
Got her ass. Mary had been in New York tending to their aged mother, Martha. Mary went to live with her son, Albert, who had lived in Colorado, but they moved to Oakland, California, where Mary died in 1937.
Wow.
Virginia was never tried. She was in jail awaiting trial and had refused most food for some time, but according to my research, Virginia's ultimate resolution to die by starvation conceded by another major family event.
I wonder what the other major family event was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe OC's death? No, she already been dead.
Yeah. There's other comments. Hi, I grew up in Christiansburg. My mom went to Christiansburg High School in the building that is not Christiansburg Middle School. I'm actually a descendant of the fabled Black Sisters.
Ooh.
There's more to the story, a lot more.
Yeah.
That story is still pretty... That school is still pretty haunted. I guess every school has urban legends, but I remember stuff happening and people freaking out. There was an afternoon when the principal, George Porterfield, was in his office and talked about lights going on and off and hearing people when there was no one there. It was freaky.
That sounds freaky.
Another comment, the college was actually sold to the Montgomery County School Board. It was demolished and Christiansburg High School was built on the site. Later, that building became Christiansburg Middle School. God. So Blacksburg Middle doesn't really fit into that story at all. Yeah, because he mentioned Blacksburg.
Yeah, I was going to say, I meant, like, that's all Montgomery County, essentially.
Yeah. I went to Christiansburg Middle School in the late 1980s. Like many legends, there is not always a lot of facts involved. Most of the kids wrote stories about the Black Sisters when I was there. They probably still do. Although the building on that site is no longer Christiansburg Middle, as I understand it, now it's used as administration?
Maybe, yeah. Just moved them somewhere else.
I think so. Let's see.
Well, I've been in a ton of haunted buildings personally.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think sometimes when you get into a scary situation, I feel like, because I don't think I've ever felt anything like paranormal speak to me.
Right.
Or like have a paranormal experience.
Yeah.
But I've had a feeling of being somewhere and being like, okay, there's something else here.
Yeah.
Like this, an otherworldly feeling. But I haven't had any spirits directly reach out to me.
Yeah.
And I think some people get a little spook magook.
Magook.
Yeah, get a little spooks magooks. And they're like, what's that? Oh my gosh, I heard something.
Mm-hmm.
There's something here. I was just here, you know, like... Because I think a good majority of the time, you probably can explain something.
Yeah.
But there is the unexplainable.
Exactly.
Like, there are certain scary stories or paranormal stories that are... Like, okay, this has to be something scary. Or just something ghostly or whatever.
Yeah.
Ghouls, ghasts, and witches, you know how it is.
Yeah. So, you listeners, you watchers, we posted about this story on the Facebook group, and a lot of you guys commented, and I'm going to read off what you all said. This one was referring to the Christiansburg area. One person said, yes, it is and has been vandalized many times. Oh, this is the Virginia's grave. Yes, it is and has been vandalized many times and knocked over. It's in Sunset Cemetery off South Franklin. The last time I went over there, only half of the headstone was remaining. There's a book, Three Sisters in Black by Norman Zierald. Pretty interesting read.
Yeah, wait a second. When that person was talking about, like, the whole realistic aspect to it, they didn't bring up anything about a baby being dropped in a well or anything.
The first article I read?
No, the one that you just talked about. Like, that person comment and saying, like, all that stuff. They didn't bring up anything about a baby, did they?
I think so.
Did they?
I think he said it, yeah. But I think there's a comment where it mentions... So this one is referring to the Christiansburg Middle School. One said yes, a broom would stand up. Like I asked if it was haunted. This person said yes, a broom would stand up. Kind of weird witches, brooms.
A lot of witchery.
Yeah. One said no, but all of Virginia Tech is.
That's actually pretty fair.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, Virginia Tech, like, a lot of that land was Native American land, and then Tech basically, you know, did what white Americans did at the time and took all the land from the Native Americans.
Right.
So it's very possible that I think there's a direct correlation in that of like abusing land and taking land for one general purpose. Because for the longest time, Tech was a military school.
Right.
You know, there was no girls allowed there.
Yeah.
Actually, I think when my grandma went to Radford, Radford was a girls-only school.
Wow.
And that was like the sister
Radford
school to
University?
Tech. Yeah, it was like the sister school to Tech, where they focused on like nursing,
Yeah,
teaching,
You're right.
teaching and things like that.
You're right.
And then Tech was more the agriculture, engineering, VMI, or not VMI, sorry, like the military aspect of it, Corps cadets, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
All that. Plus, just a lot of dark shit has happened. Like, if we want to just trail off the path real quick, I think Andy may have brought it up, or maybe not. Maybe it's something we talked about afterwards. But if a school were to give you a statistic of how many kids, because that's what they are, from 18 to 21 or whatever, the amount of kids that try to commit suicide, maybe do commit suicide, things like that, we would probably freak out.
Yeah.
When I was working last year, I had to go to Squires, and there was a memorial for a girl who had killed herself. And when you think of that, someone who is going through a stressful time, maybe not able to deal with the stresses that college brings, maybe your first time away from home, you get whatever, the amount of sexual assaults that happen on campus, just whatever you want to think caused that. And then just think of the people who may be still lingering on that campus from that, you know? And that could just cause just that energy, you know?
It's all about energy.
Yeah, the electromagnetic fields, you think of lights flickering on and off?
Yeah.
Like that, the principal sitting in his room and hearing things and lights flickering?
Yep.
Maybe that's just passing through. If you want to talk about Stranger Things real quick, how do they contact each other from the upside down?
Yep.
You know, they contact through lights and stuff.
Yep.
That's literally how Winona Ryder gets her son out of the Stranger Things.
Should I say or should I? Yep. Okay. One comment: the Black Sisters is the old school, not the new middle school. While the Black sister buried in Christiansburg is in an unmarked grave, the Wardlaw family plot is in the cemetery on South Franklin. Turn in at the entrance closest to downtown and look for the big and fancy monuments. I go there about 2 to 3 times a week to have lunch. I have lots of pics of the fancy stones, but the sisters are in front of those. One has a busted apple on it. That's interesting. Supposedly there is a well under the gym that the Black Sisters would use to drown their victims. That was another, theory.
Yeah.
Victims. This person's last name was Simmons, which is interesting. Fletcher Simmons. The old Christiansburg High School turned middle school. Yep, most definitely. You can hear a baby crying in gym where the Black Sisters drowned their niece's baby. Footsteps on the stairs and down the hallway walking behind you. I could go on and on. Would love to do an investigation.
That would be OC's baby, right? That they drowned?
Mm-hmm.
Drowned? Oh, okay. So she died 2 days after she was born.
Yeah, because the first article mysteriously vanished. It never mentioned them drowning the baby in a well.
Yeah.
But that's what a lot of people
There's so many names that are being thrown out here.
Exactly.
It's like when we just talked about the last comment of the person who's like, there's so many historical. What Fletcher wasn't even the groundskeeper.
Yeah.
The guy was a teacher and then lit himself on fire with an oil lamp. Yeah, he was a cook. Ugh.
Then we said he was a magician.
Might as well have been. You know? He's a transformer. Be anybody he wants to be.
Okay, so this one, they said, yes, definitely, it is haunted. I was a student there and had a few experiences. I was a cheerleader there, and in the chemistry room, water came on by itself.
Ooh.
Wasn't allowed to go to bathroom alone, and one time I did, and the bathroom stall doors would open and close by themselves. Fuck. Could you imagine taking a shit?
Remember when we had Coach Rowe for ecology?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if I was like, Coach Rowe, can I go to the bathroom? All right, take Justin with you. Don't worry about it. Just take Justin with you. And be all right.
Right.
I would just be like, why?
Yeah.
Because the bathroom doors are just going to open up. There's something in there. You might as well sacrifice both of you to this demon than just one of
Oh,
you.
God. Yeah, Justin's weird taking.
You guys are going to do a podcast in like 10 years and figure it out.
Oh, God.
And you think about our high school, built in the 60s.
Yeah.
I think KJ, King Johnston, is haunted.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've
When
heard
I
that.
did the Boy Scouts, they did like a lock-in where you'd stay there all night. I didn't do it, though.
Why not? Scared?
Yeah.
Dang.
I was a child.
We might have to do that.
I'm not.
Why not?
Well, first of all, I don't know if they're just going to be like, yeah, of course you two grown men can just sleep in this
Well, they
community
might.
center. Yeah, they might. I guess.
We could hit up Cora.
Cora, if you let us sleep with KJ, thanks. Appreciate it.
I mean, it's for the podcast. It's for the
It
podcast.
is pretty creepy, though, if you think about it, because I've done, like, we used to have birthday parties and stuff there, and it does have a really weird vibe to it. Like, a really, really weird vibe.
Right.
You know, if anybody, like, that I'd be interested. If anybody has any weird experiences at KJ, King Johnston, because my mom...
For the locals, yeah.
Yeah, my mom went to, like, elementary, middle school there.
Yeah.
And my aunt did as well, until Macy was built. But I don't remember when Macy was built. So, like 70s, 80s or so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I got for this one, because there's so many interpretations of it that I wanted us to just discuss all of them, I guess.
Sometimes it's easier to lay out what we know.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you guys will fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And we'll get more information on that. Just because, like, when you read a bunch of different articles about the same thing,
Yeah.
and they all have a bunch of different names and different things that happen, it's really hard to put it all together.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes it more confusing, which kind of leads me to believe that the Black Sisters may just be a wives' tale.
Perhaps.
Just like
the whole witches aspect, they would wear, all black, and then they would, like, be in graveyards and do, like, witchy shit.
Yeah, it's all just a little too convenient.
Yeah.
Which, and like we say, we never throw anything out. I'm not throwing out the fact that Christiansburg Middle School or whatever is haunted.
Right.
I totally think that could be. But I feel like maybe the Black Sisters and all that could just be a lot of shenanigans happening around them. And
They
them
definitely,
being
they definitely killed OC.
Oh, yeah.
Took the life insurance money. And Fletcher, he's a cook,
Yeah. But, like, if we're thinking, like, when you just say that, like, oh, yeah, they definitely killed OC for the insurance money.
We do know that.
Yeah, but also there are a ton of other instances of people killing their significant other for insurance money, and they're not witches.
No.
They're just pieces of shit. So, like, when you think of it like that, from a current mindset, it seems like these people in 1909 were like, wow, it's 1909. I would love to have $1,000 life insurance policy, and that will change my life completely. Yeah. And it would have, between three of them. But I just think that, if anything, they just killed him.
Yeah.
Killed her, killed OC at least. Yeah. But even then, only two of them were held accountable.
Yeah.
The other one just...
Yeah. I blame all three. How
Might
about
as well.
that?
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that? What are they going to do? Haunt me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately sages as soon as
the lights just go all out.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got for, that story. I do want to bring up this right here because I haven't told you yet.
Ooh.
So, a lady told me about this place that's notorious for being haunted. It's in West Virginia. Then I got a message from this guy out of the blue. He was like, I got a good local story for you to research and do a podcast on. I can even provide some people to interview probably. I was like, okay, man, love to know.
Yeah. Always, that's the thing when you're a paranormal investigator. It's like, okay, I would love to investigate this.
He says, it's called the Man House in Kashmir, West Virginia, Monroe County, sorry.
Yeah. My grandmother...
You know this place?
Yeah, my grandmother, I think her name was Zippy. She went to Radford Nursing School.
Yeah.
I think Zippy was from Kashmir, West Virginia.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is going.
Why are you tied to all this? It's so strange.
West Virginia.
It's like you're meant for this.
Yeah, it's just those Appalachian ties.
Yeah.
It runs deep. I mean, even like going way back into my family, like my great-grandfather or my great-great-grandfather being killed in a coal mine, you know? And then there's like another, maybe my other great-great-grandfather or an uncle was killed in his house, and then the house was burned down with him in it.
God.
But like no one knows why that happened.
Right.
And then I had another great-grandfather, I think, who worked at a mill, like a bread mill, you know, grinding grain and shit. Or no, a sawmill, actually, sorry.
Yeah.
He worked at a sawmill.
Grain and shit.
Yeah, my bad. Wood and shit. And they said he laid down on a bench, had a smile on his face, because they had just sharpened the blade, and it was cutting the wood so good, and he died. Had a heart attack. Died with a smile on his face.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my great-great-grandmother, she said she'd always die with her shoes on, and she died walking. She was in the doctor's office. They called her name. She stood up, died. Had her shoes on.
That's insane.
Yeah. Raised like 12 kids on her own, I think.
Oh my, 12 kids?
Yeah. Actually, my great-grandmother was pregnant with, I think, either my Aunt Pat or Uncle Tom at the same time that her mother had her youngest kid. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
She would have had 13 kids, but she had twins, and one of them passed away. Oh man, what was his name? They called him. But
you got a big family.
Yeah, actually, my great-grandmother's siblings, I think out of 12 of them, 7 of them are still alive.
God.
All in their 80s, yeah.
God.
My great-grandmother lived to be...
And they got families of their own?
Yeah. My great-grandmother lived to be 97.
You're just populating everywhere.
Appalachia, baby.
God.
That's how it was at the time, though, you know?
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah. So, he mentioned the Man House. MANN. He sent me some articles about it. I don't want to dive too much into it because I think it would be a great episode.
Yeah.
Even possibly going over there.
It'd be interesting.
Who knows? Maybe we can investigate. Just throwing that out there.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun.
I think they call it a Solitude Farm now. I had been there a couple of times when I was younger, and my parents were friends with a man named Sean Mann. He owned it for quite a while. Then I was like, you think they would allow investigations?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was on a show called E! Hollywood. Stories when I was little.
Yeah. True Hollywood Stories.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I've been in the house a few times when I was younger. I don't believe in all that stuff, but that damn house creeped me the fuck straight out. The key would be getting a hold of Sean Mann if he's still alive. He has a lifetime full of stories he can tell and used to tell us.
Wow.
So, that might be something to look into.
Yeah, the Man House.
Yeah. I've been told to look into that too, but then I got that message, so I thought it was maybe worth,
Yeah.
reading
Sometimes things just push you in the
about.
direction. Because I think there's been a ton of times that Justin and I have been like, we're going to do this.
And then something else happens.
Something happens and we're like, we're going to do this.
We're doing Dave Montgomery at some point.
Yeah, we are. And that's there's so many stories. Actually, we were talking about it today before I came over. Just like everybody telling their stories and everything about him. So that's something we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. Kind of confusing.
Kinda
There was a couple
confusing.
times where I got lost.
I got lost too while reading.
So,
but I think it needed to be happened because I'm assuming we didn't want to just say one story and we get feedback, hey, you fucking wrong.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
Actually, this is what happened.
Yeah.
All right, well.
We might still get that, too.
When there's like 8 different interpretations of the story.
What do you do?
And that's what makes me believe that it's like a wives' tale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something that you, like, I need you to get home before the streetlights come on. Or before the streetlights
Them
come
sisters
on.
in black.
Sisters in black
About to
will come
get you.
get you.
Yeah.
You know, and you tell that to your kids, give them a little shake between the tail feathers and get on home. Yeah. But, you know, they did kill their sister for insurance money. Fletcher.
Or their niece.
Their niece, sorry.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Fletcher was actually not burned alive. He was actually a different person.
Yeah, cook, magician.
Yeah, cook magician in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah. So yeah, that's this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like the show, please 5-star on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please leave a review. Subscribe, of course, on those platforms, and as well YouTube. We are on YouTube. We're doing visual.
A lot of people seem to really like the YouTube version
Yeah.
of it. The video aspect.
I like it too.
It's cool.
Yeah. So, that's it. That's it, Josh. Thanks for being on.
That's it.
That's it.
That's just the show today, guys. Sorry.
Stay tuned for big announcements because they're coming.
Yeah. This episode might be a little shorter or whatever, just because not only are Justin and I busy with work and life and everything, but there's so much planned for the podcast.
There's one in particular that we're about to discuss after this episode.
Yeah, so
that's going to be lit.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, and we're just, happy to grow.
We're going to be happy to announce, too.
Yeah. Everybody, if you could share the Facebook page with your friends, family, I actually was like, man, I'd love to hit, because I think at one point we were at 400 members, and I was like, I'd love to hit 700 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now we're almost at 700. So I don't know, maybe 1,000 by the end of the year. I feel like
that was last month.
Yeah, seriously. So we've really crushed it, and so many people have given us good compliments, and they love the show. So
and we love you for loving the show.
Yeah, we love the feet.
Gosh, take it easy. It's like Mary.
But yeah, so grab me by the throat real
Virginia,
quick. Let me know.
law.
Okay. The witch.
Yeah. Bitch.
Who knows what, if you think about it, when you watch movies and pop culture from that time, usually, headmasters and headmistresses are terrible.
They're always evil.
Abusive.
Yeah.
What's that? Matilda? Yeah, Mrs. Trunchbull.
On my way.
On my way.
Yeah.
Copyright strike.
Yeah, let's end this episode.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. Lastly, watch your back. It's Cryptic.
Since the last time
you.